நான் பாண்டிச்சேரியில பொறந்தேன். கொஞ்சம் தமிழ் பேச முடியும். ஆனா எல்லாம் மறந்துட்டு போயிட்டேன். Nesippaya came first through my agency, and at that time I actually said no. So immediately there was this like he only was talking to me like Kalki Akka. Oh my god, we just watched Yeh Jawaani and we're watching it again because of all the re-release happening in India. And in the towns you're unemployed for long periods of time. And at the last minute, like, இது சொல்லு அது சொல்லு, and I would be like, ஐயோ அக்கா அக்கா ஐயோ அக்கா இப்படி பண்ண முடியாது.
Hi, welcome to Cinema Express. I'm Jayabhuvaneshwari, and today we have with us Kalki Koechlin for Nesippaya. And of course, I think I'm going to be discussing a lot more things, but predominantly Nesippaya. So, Kalki, I just watched the film yesterday and I absolutely loved your performance in the film. Like, you were the show stealer in the film. So
ரொம்ப
that's why I had to reach out somehow and get your interview. I'm so glad I actually got it. But before we go into how Nesipaya happened and the character and all of those things, I was so curious to know, do you already know how to ride a bike? Because you were so cool riding it.
Yes, I do. I have a Himalayan, and I've ridden a lot.
Okay, and was it easy to balance someone as tall as Akash behind you? Like, have you had experience with that also?
That was challenging. I'm not used to riding pillion I'm not used to having someone on the back. And that was a little bit difficult. Also, it's a heavy bike, Harley Davidson.
Yeah, Harley Davidson, right? Exactly. And you looked so cool riding it. So the whole time I was like, did she learn it for this film or did she already know how to ride it? And all of that was, going on in my mind. So let's just get to the root of it. Like, how did you? I think Vishnuvardhan told in a lot of interviews that he really wanted to cast you for Nesipaya, and through a lot of sources, and then finally, I think through Nayanthara and Vigneshavan, he got through to you. But what was that X factor that made you choose Nesipaya?
Well, actually, the bike riding was part of it in the sense that when he came to me and he spoke about the lawyer role, a normal, typical lawyer role, you think of like always wearing suits and very proper and everything. And he said, I don't want that kind of person. I want to disrupt that idea of what a lawyer should be. And I want a very independent, strong woman, who's made it on her own, etc. And part of that was in the way she dresses and the way she rides a bike. So I loved that part of it. That angle for me was quite a winner.
Right. I really loved how your costume and your hairstyles came along. Like I was frequently spotting the different hairstyles that you had. I'm like, I should try that every, once in a while or something. It was very pretty the way they dressed you up for the film.
Anu ma'am, who did the costumes, and my hair makeup person, Angie, Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie.
Right.
No, I wished Angelina Jolie was part of my life. No, it's Angelina.
So I think when you signed up for Nesipaya, you were a new mother and you were going through a lot, like any other new mother, I think.
Yeah.
So why do you think you were okay with taking on the film even during that period? And how was it, to balance
Mm.
motherhood and filming?
So I think Nesipaya came first through my agency, and at that time I had actually said no because I was very limited in my time. I wanted to spend a lot of time with my daughter. I was very selective about my work. So actually, that's why he had to go round, 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 and finally, spoke to Nentara. But by that time, a year had passed. By the time he reached me, a year had passed, and I had started balancing better my life. I'd started going back to work more because, my daughter was a lockdown baby. So she was used to having me there 24/7, first year
Right.
to herself. And so it was very difficult in the beginning to leave her for long periods of time. So by the time he reached me, she was already in school. The setup was such that I could leave her for a longer period of time. And this shoot was meant to happen in France, and then it got changed to Portugal. It was a fantastic shoot, very beautiful locations.
For most parts of the film, your screen space is with Akash. And in a recent interview, you had referred to him as Thambi. And that's how it came across to me as well. Like you were that responsible older sister, constantly calling him out for the characters, of course, actions, impulsive actions and all of that. But it was the beauty about it was it came very organically. It was not, artificial. The kind of dynamic that the two of you had on screen. So did you have some, I don't know, some kind of exercises to bring that? Because I remember in one of the Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani interviews, you had mentioned how you guys had actually an exercise of traveling together, I think up till Manali from Delhi or vice versa. And you guys had bonding and all of that. So was there something like this on the sets of Nesippaya as well?
No, but what there was just the automatic age difference. He is very young. I am much older than him. So immediately there was this, like, he only was talking to me like Kalki Akka. And he calls me Kalki Akka, and he's written as Akash Tambi on my phone. So, that kind of dynamic was very organic in that sense. And I used to tease him that, a lot of pressure to be this first time hero, and you have your dad and this legacy and all. So we used to tease each other, and he was like, yeah, I'm nothing like you. You're already up there and all. So yeah, we had this nice banter starting from very early on, which helped the film for sure.
So I already mentioned Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani, and I cannot, I think, go through this interview without talking about it because, if you think about it, you've had not one but three releases for this Pongal season. Because you had Nesippaya, and then you have Yeh Jawaani Hai Deewani's re-release, and then you also had Goldfish premiere on OTT. So you've just
Yes,
had like a great festive season, I think.
very good week. It's a very good week.
So I wanted to ask you, have you heard some different kind of, compliments or comments about YJHD now that it's released after these many years?
Um, so many. I mean, obviously, my Instagram has blown up. Everybody is sending me videos of the theaters have become a dance hall. Everybody's singing the songs. A lot of people I've met have, like, I'm in London right now, and there's a lot of students I met because I also got an honorary graduation yesterday, which is part of my great week that I'm having. And there were a lot of Indian students as well. So they, were chatting to me, and they were like, "Oh my God, we just watched Yeh Jawaani, and we're watching it again because of all the, re-release happening in India." But they said, we feel like the first half is how we were 13 years ago, 11 years ago, whenever the film was made, and the second half is how we are today because we've grown that many years. So it's very nice that because the movies kind of moved through generations in that sense.
And it's aged really well. And I mean, it's within the story for it to age well, though. So that's really nice. I
Yeah.
didn't think of it from that angle, actually. Right, right. So on watching Nesi Paya yesterday, and when I was discussing it with other people who watched it with me, everybody unanimously said, I didn't know Kalki speaks this good Tamil. Like your Tamil was pretty flawless. I mean, because your character's also based out of Portugal, but you're a Tamil person in Portugal. So, I mean, it was really, really good. A lot of actors who've been here for so many years still don't know the language. So, I mean, I really have to give it to you. But what I think you've mentioned that you're not extremely confident in Tamil as well. Of course, you can speak the language, but I think you have a little bit of learning and all of that. So, what is your process when you have to speak dialogues in Tamil?
சி நான் பாண்டிச்சேரியில பிறந்தேன். கொஞ்சம் தமிழ் பேச முடியும், ஆனா எல்லாம் மறந்துட்டு போயிட்டேன். என் தமிழ் ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா இருக்கு. இந்த ஃபிலிம்ல கொஞ்சம் it was much little more developed and complicated. So that's why I didn't feel like. And when you speak for a film, it's much more proper. There's all these little details which are slightly different from how I speak, because my grammar is not so good. அதுக்கு தான் நான் ரொம்ப வேலை செய்யிட்டு இருந்தேன். I don't know.
செஞ்சுட்டு இருந்தேன், yeah.
செஞ்சுட்டு இருந்தேன். And I really had people holding my hand. Neelam sir, who's written the dialogues, and this AD called Shiva, they really sort of, they gave me voice notes for every line. I would listen to it and I'd try to get it accurately. So it was quite scary because Vishnu sir loves to improvise. And at the last minute, he'll be like, இது சொல்லு, அது சொல்லு. And I would be like, ஐயோ அண்ணா, அக்கா, ஐயோ அக்கா இப்படி பண்ண முடியாது. So we used to have these struggles, but wherever I could manage it, I managed it. Or what I would do is I would try to say it in my own words. I was like, this word is not familiar, so I will say it like this. So that type of thing. Pro dubbing la number nalla seri பண்ணிட்டோம்.
You took your time during dubbing.
Yeah,
Ama, anga your pressure is comparatively less.
yeah, anything that we were feeling was not quite right. Vishnu sir personally worked with it. He was there at the dubbing.
But I love that line when you said, "நீ சும்மாவே இருக்க மாட்டியா? எனக்கு இப்போ புரியுதே அதித்தி உன்னை விட்டு, sorry,
ஆமா.
தியா உன்னை விட்டுட்டு போனா." That I think everybody loved that line because the character is such, no, he's
Yeah.
just doing things impulsively, and we're all like, "Why is he doing all of this?" And then you're just giving that answer to him.
Always
So
get
it was really good.
is ஏதாவது பிரச்சனை இருக்கு. There's no way that he can go according to the law, that the norm.
I also wanted to ask, considering you're multilingual, multiple languages, sometimes for me, I hardly know like three languages. And even then, sometimes, the switch doesn't work correctly and I mix all the three languages that I know. Considering I think you know more than three, if I'm right. So considering you know multiple languages, how does your, brain work around these languages when you're in different film sets? Like you're, balancing and multitasking between different kinds of films, English, Hindi, Tamil at least. So how does that work for you?
It's a struggle, but I feel it really helps when, like in this film, Nesippaya, I was only in Portugal. So I was able to focus only on the Tamil. And I asked everybody on set to speak to me in Tamil. I was like, please just give me the Tamil all the time. So in that sense, I was, it was a good start for me because it's my first feature in Tamil and I was very nervous about that. And now I think in Hindi and English, it's pretty easy for me to switch. It's been long enough that I've been doing that. And then the French is like a family language. Like, so the switch just is like, that's the language I speak with my mom and with my daughter. So it's different. Yeah.
So are you teaching your daughter all these very many different languages, or how's that working?
She is already speaking 4 languages. Yes. Speaking, Hebrew, French, English, and Hindi.
Oh, that's great, actually.
Yeah.
Nice. As you said, Nesippaya was your first Tamil full-length feature film, because even the Pavakadegal one was a short film and anthology, right? So, what's the kind of reception you've been getting on your end? Like, did you get to watch the film? How's that been
I
going?
still haven't seen the film because I'm in London today and I'm traveling today, so I can't watch it even in London. But I will catch it I try to catch it in Bombay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
But have you heard any good things? Have you read the reviews?
I said, I mean, I just got messages from the team, Sneha and Anu ma'am and a few others who just, have said some nice things about my character and about the role. So I'm looking forward to reading the reviews and seeing the reactions. Yeah, soon when I'm back in India now.
So you come from a theater background, right? And you had mentioned in one interview that in theater you get the time to sit with your character and really prepare for it. Like you go into the character, you get the time for that. I think cinema unfortunately does not offer that much time to most of your characters at least, because it's a very fast-paced industry, right? So do you think like your potential is much more in case you get that time? Like, do you think that?
I feel, of course, 100%. Anyone, the more time you have for something, the more you can polish it. But I'm not like precious about that because I think each type of method that you end up with teaches you something new. Yeah, so I think that I'm not too precious about it because I feel like when you do something that's out of your comfort zone, you also learn a lot and you learn to adapt, and everything has its own way of like, there's a process. Even though you are new to it, the person who has been directing has probably been doing that for a very long time. So they know what they're doing. And you got to trust, in that sense, you got to trust the process.
But what are some differences apart from the time given that you see between theater acting and cinema?
I think the respect for the script, the every dialogue, every single comma and full stop means something. It's been written for a reason. That kind of like, almost devotion to the script, I rarely see in cinema. In cinema, it's always, um, yeah, like you always have to like improvise, change it around, like, it's always in the moment, on the go.
And Kalki, I wanted to ask, like, what does identity mean to you? What is your definition of identity?
I think it's very multiple. I don't think you're just one thing. I love identity crisis because it's part of who you are, and and until you embrace all the different aspects of you, you can't be whole. And we have a tendency to live in a society which tends to look at you once and say, "This is who you are," because of this is the way you dress, or this is the way you speak, or whatever. They've put you in one identity, and that's very, I think it takes time for a person. I think only with maturity you start realizing that those things are not true, and that you can be many things. So yeah, I think it's identity is a multiple, like multiplicity is identity.
Think.
Yeah.
Right, right. And I wanted to ask about your interests, like when I was reading up about your early life and everything, somewhere I read that you wanted to pursue psychiatry and criminal psychology. I don't know if I'm right. This is I've just
Yeah.
read up somewhere. I'm right,
Yeah.
all right. And recently, not very recently though, a few years ago, you wrote a book, Elephant in the Womb, and that's there. And then somewhere you'd also mentioned that acting's not the only thing. You also want to direct and tell more stories. So, one thing is, how do you prioritize your interests and how do you balance them out?
It's really it kind of happens organically, because as an actor you have lots of ups and lots of downs, and in the downs you're unemployed for long periods of time, and at that time you need to feed your source of satisfaction in life. You need to keep yourself occupied, and that's why I do theater, that's why I go to writing. And I feel like all these forms of expression help me when I go back to the acting world, because I've explored so many different parts of myself. It helps me have more clarity when I go back to a new character. So all of this stuff is great. I do want to write more, definitely. And
So, just two more questions to wrap it all up. You're also traveling, so I don't want to take too much of your time. One is about, see, you've been very clear about the kind of films and characters you want to do. You want to do something that, challenges you, and things like that. You want to always pick interesting characters, I think, and that's what you've been doing all these years. And sometimes because of that, you've also like not done many films a year and all that, but having come so many years into your career and now that you're also a mother, do you think there's a slight game change in your game plan for your career? Like what would that be then?
I think just getting back on the horse. I think I've just been off the horse for so long that I just want to get back to work. And it's exciting just to get back into it. But yeah, I suppose that there is a certain part of me that wants to spend more time at home, and so the developing writing, working from home is something that I would like to invest more time in, while the acting is more selective.
All right. And lastly, can you just tell us a little about Ghost Hunters? And I think there's another English film that's coming up. So can you just tell us a little about that?
Yeah, Ghost Hunters is a series. I think they're giving it a different title, but for now it's Ghost Hunters. And it's going to be for Amazon Mini, and it's based on a true story about this man, Gaurav Tiwari, who was a paranormal activity, kind of seeker, and died in quite a mysterious accident in his bathroom. I mean, they say they don't know if it's a suicide or not, and so it explores all these aspects. It's going to be quite scary. I'm not sure I can watch it. you
All
know
right. And
and the other is called Her Song. It's an American French co-production, and it's a comedy about an American woman who comes to find her roots in France, and finds that her life is sort of repeating. She's a writer, and whatever she's writing starts to repeat in her life. So good fun, very different from what I've done before.
and very interesting because it kind of slightly, is a reflection of your life. Like if you want to go back and,
Yeah,
venture into your roots. Yeah,
yeah.
very, very interesting. All right, looking really forward to those films as well. All the very best. And please, please do a lot more Tamil films. We want to really hear you and speak Tamil and
I'm
watch you in Tamil films.
definitely hoping for some good roles to come my way.
But thank you so much for squeezing this interview within your schedule. You're traveling and all of that, and you're in London, but you still made time for me. I'm really glad. Thank you so much. And I hope to have many more such conversations with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. It was a pleasure.